Welcome back to Tales of Two Bros. I am Angel,
I'm Adan.
and this is our series review of Tekken Bloodline, Season 1, currently streaming on Netflix. Is it worth the watch, or is it a waste of time?
Did they already announce the second season?
Spoilers, at the time of this review, which is Sunday, August 21st, Netflix debuted Tekken Bloodlines based off the video game, based off, I guess, they made comic book series after this as well, but mainly based off the popular video game. Off the bat, I enjoyed it. Well, before I say that, or before I already did, but okay, this is kind of maybe I'm confusing myself because Tekken is a well-known video game, just like Street Fighter.
It's up there as one of the
Virtual
most popular fighting games there is.
Right. We have seen before where they try to make a movie out of something like this. They did it with Street Fighter with the live action starring Jean-Claude Van Damme, and then they did animation, they did series, Tekken as well. They did a live action version as well, like straight to DVD. They also did another Street Fighter not straight to DVD. I don't know where it's straight to DVD or not, but it's not Van Damme. It's a different take on it.
Oh, I never saw the live action Tekken movie.
I did. I liked it. It was somewhat similar to this, but different in a way. Like Jin is the main focus here. He's the main character.
Mm-hmm.
But what I'm trying to get at is that since you play the game and say you play as one individual and you beat the game, each individual has a story. Each individual has his or her purpose of why they enter the tournament, why they are fighting. Here, what I liked, they just focused on Jin, just like they did in the live action one. And you see a better understanding of how he came to be in a way. That's why I think there should be another season is coming, because there's no really answer or true answer why he became a demon. I don't remember seeing it. They showed it. It must have passed me because I was so focused on the action and the animation. And I appreciate that they did focus. They didn't just jump around like they did in other incarnations of the story or from other movies like Street Fighter or what have you. I like that they show him training with his mom, June. I like the fact that there's a connection on why him and Ogre, or he's so focused on defeating Ogre.
Yeah.
But that's later. And I liked the fighting. The fighting was cool. I mean, they brought in other characters, but they're like side characters. They weren't as important like they were in the game. Like Paul Phoenix, he was a huge part of the game. He was from the beginning, I think.
Yeah, they even said it that he fought his father, Kazuya.
And they just showed him a little bit, the father, in like a film thing from the past tournaments. What about you? Did you like it? Did you enjoy it? Did you think it was unnecessary or?
Okay, so no, I did not. Granted, I do remember other iterations of Tekken, the film wise. Like, so there was the OG Tekken OVA that was done, which was the animated movie that focused more on the first Tekken tournament. And focused on Kazuya, did not have Jin. And then there was the DVD CGI movie that was pretty much, for the most part, just just captures of the story mode from, I think, Tekken 3 or 4 or something like that, where they just made a movie out of it and just cut out the actual gameplay. And then they added a couple more scenes. So there was an actual CGI movie. This is the first one that was a series. I would say I wasn't really captivated by it. I watched the whole thing and I was Haisha Mishima. Now I'm messing up.
You mean the grandfather?
Hitachi Mishima. Yeah. Or Gramps.
The bad guy?
Just call him Gramps. So, yeah, just like in some of the other games, you don't get like his background, his motivations or anything. Yeah, he's trying to get rid of the Devil Gene, but you don't really know why. Yeah, I think it's in Tekken 7 that they explain why. But
Hmm.
either way, so there's a lot of gaps in it. I like the idea that they focus on Jin, but when you say side characters, they are destined to win side characters. They really don't bring anything to the table to the story in reality. Like Wang, and that name I know I butchered. I
Pretty
love that
close.
character from the game. He has
Yes.
a very stringent background for a lot of different reasons. And yes, he is involved with Jin's character. And then, like when they were montaging, I see his character come in. I'm like,
Yeah.
I don't get nothing based around that. I don't get no reason why they're like integrating. Like, did they go to the same high school? What was the deal?
No,
I
but
understand the
okay.
girl; she was like in the same school, but like it
Well,
was
for him, it was like they talked about it because it was like part of his training. Like he had to go out and fight and things like that. It was like part of his Jin's training sessions, what have you, like test your skill kind of thing.
yeah.
That's where I got out of it.
But you
It
only
was
see him
just
fight that one guy. You don't see him fight any other taking
right,
characters.
which is okay in my opinion. Is for me, it's okay because there's so many characters that
Well, here's the thing: they bring in Paul, you get a little bit more
mm,
info from Paul. Then you Leroy, nothing really benefit from Leroy. Let's be honest. Nina,
is he a part of?
useless.
Okay, who's Leroy? I don't remember Leroy. I don't remember a black gray hair
He came in like
dude.
around Tekken 7 or 6. He replaced the Jackie Chan martial art fighter, the cop, not
Oh, it did
Lee. I think he was on par with that.
Lou. I because he
Not
reminded me
Law.
of the
Law was
other.
Bruce Lee like.
No, yeah, I know, but he reminded me also the one with the ponytail, the kung fu,
You thinking
the
Eddie
big
Gordo?
husky kung fu. No, Eddie Gordo's a Jamaican dude.
Oh, I'm sorry, I'm thinking of the dreadlocks.
No, but no, he had like a long hair. He had like the kung fu outfit. He was like stocky,
I think that's who you're thinking of.
and he
That's
like
Leroy.
right, but there was an Asian dude in the game. The way he
Oh,
moved, the way Leroy moved was like that big Asian dude. I just can't remember the names off right now. So you're talking about real quick the Tekken the motion picture, which is '97. That was the 2D animation. Then the CGI Tekken Blood Vengeance. The one I'm
yes.
talking about was
The
the one I
live
was talking
action.
about. Is yes, that came out in like 2009. And there's another Tekken 2, Kazuya's Revenge. I didn't see that one, so I don't know how that is. But for me, I wasn't really bothered. What I liked here was like the animation was so true to the video game in the martial arts sense.
Okay, in that
The way the
aspect,
character
the glowing of the hands, the like some of the fights. Yes, they were nailing the actual fighting techniques that they did in the
right.
game. Give them
They
that.
they they implied it. They implied it, but they imposed it here. They did a great job of doing what the characters do in the game here. And I like in the beginning where June and Jin are training together, doing a kata together. They're in seclusion. They're hiding. I just like that aspect, that the bond they had. And her fighting the ogre was hot. I'm sorry. She fought to her last dying breath, literally. But the techniques that he showed, again, she was awesome. I love playing her in the video game where the spin kicks or the flip kicks and the glowing. Yes, when they make contact, when the power, when not the power, but
Yeah,
when
they get the
when
super move, charge up move.
yes, there's like a spark that will
Hmm.
happen. I enjoyed that. I really liked it. It's just that I wish that.
I think if they
Mhm.
made it like a 10 episodes, they could have did. This is the one of the few times I would have been okay with a little bit more filler. Give me a little bit more story or backgrounds to the characters with Jin
Mhm.
and that, and I would have been more fulfilled. Here, I felt like
Right,
there was a lot that was cut out for just
Mm.
whatever sake they wanted to do. And the
right.
character I was thinking of that you're probably that was like the Jackie Chan cop like character that did the drunken fighting was Lee Wulong.
Right, but that's not who I'm talking about.
Oh, and I have no idea who you're talking about.
He will wear. I think he wore a suit sometimes. Like one of his costume changes, he had a suit with a hat. He had long black hair. He was freaking jacked.
I mean, there's like 30 of those fighters, so
He was in the later ones. He was in the later games. I just can't remember his name right now.
now
For those
I gotta
listening,
dust off my
watching,
Tekken.
yeah. I'm just saying for those who are listening, please let me know who I'm talking about, because I just cannot think of it right now.
It's fine. It's our little small obsession.
Oh, wait a minute. I can look real quick right now because I have the page up. It's not book.
You were about to say Pocahontas?
No, Buck Dusan. That's because he had a helmet, a hat too, a suit. Yeah, because we're not.
They got 51 fighters, bro.
I know. It's a lot. Let's move on. So yeah, Heihachi. I didn't like him in the video games, and I hated him in the series.
Yeah, it's fair.
Well, he was such a dick.
But that's literally his character. His character in all the games, in all the interims, he is a dick.
No, I understand that,
and they successfully portrayed that here.
Exactly right. That's where I'm getting at. They did a great job of making this unlikable character even more unlikable. In the games, you always saw the video clips of him like kicking his own son down a mountain, and his grandson the same thing. He'll beat his grandson. He'll beat his blood. If he can beat his blood to a pulp, no other person who's non-family is going to has a chance in that, feel the wrath. And here we see in the last episode, or second to last episode, he was building up his grandson just for his personal gain to defeat something he created. Or they implied that he created the ogre.
Well, they said at the very least he released ogre.
What I'm saying that he's responsible in one way or another.
Yeah.
I don't know why he went after the mother. Was he go after the mother because she had part of the demon in her?
No.
Was going after? Of course not, because it's the son.
Yeah, Kazuya. There's more to that storyline that came out in Tekken 7. Mm-hmm. And because
I'm sorry. Well, or did Ogre show up because of Jin? Because he had the bloodline in him.
It was heavily implied about Jin. Yeah.
Right, and then she's just there defending him because then the ogre's focus is really on her, a little bit on him, but a lot on her. So I was a little confused. But then Heihachi again is showing that his thing was, I trained you to be strong enough to defeat him, and you defeated him. Now I'm going to shoot you, and I was like, because I'm done with you. That's pretty much what it is. You served your purpose. I'm done with you. I'm going to shoot you.
No, well, he's like, because you have the devil gene in you too.
I understand that, but see what he did though. He used Jin to defeat the ogre, which he initially brought back to life or used for his gain, but then it got out of hand. He couldn't control it. After Jin killed the ogre, Heihachi then attempted to kill Jin. Mm-hmm. This is one ugly, vicious cycle. I was like, ugh. But the ending, like you brought up, like, is there going to be a season 2? Why not? Because the way it ended, there was no answers really given. Yeah. Like, how did he become the demon? How did his father get the demon blood? Yes, I know we can find out through the countless game and other movies and comic books they've done to tell the lore. But for this series, this incarnation, a season 2 is needed. And plus, the way it just left him flying away. I was like, really?
Yeah.
I was like, what?
Pretty much how it was.
Like, yeah. I mean, I like that Paul Phoenix. Harang Do is his style. It wasn't, his name wasn't Harang.
No, that's his name. He's a Taekwondo fighter. Played him all the time.
Oh, I know you did.
A cheese with those legs. His name was it's spelled HWOARANG. Hold on, I could be mispronouncing. I'm not Korean, but I'm just saying.
Right? No, I know.
But I did give credit where credit was due. Like when they were talking about Paul, and he's like, I trained and fought with a bear. He's talking about Kuma.
Right. Well, they couldn't do or make. Mm-hmm. They brought in by just talking. Then you know what they're talking about. Wasn't his teacher Bakdu-san? Wasn't his teacher?
I think it is. I'm not 100%. They both had this similar fighting style and technique. Yeah. They both did Taekwondo, but their fighting techniques were very similar. So I wanted to say it's like how King had a replacement.
Right.
And it was same thing there.
I think Do-san also was a master of Hapkido, where Harang was more of the Taekwondo. But anyway, Yeah, I mean, I like what's the girl's name? She.
Zhao Yu.
I mean, I like that they there was a bond, and he befriends them. He doesn't want to kill. This is Jin, that is, and he's like, yeah, I beat you. Doesn't mean I have to kill you. Doesn't mean I have, we can still be friends after this. And they showed that once he beat Harang, Harang says, I want another rematch. I was like, that's three now. You lost two out of three. Lost two. You want another one? And I find it like bad for Jin because he was like, dude, he just fought Harang. He fought King. Then he fought Heihachi. And then he fought Ogre. I was like, this guy is freaking exhausted. But I guess that's what needed to bring out the beast, to test his limits, to bring him over his limits for the monster can come out. I was like, man, this guy can't get a break.
He was getting worked over, yeah.
Besides the action, which I thought was amazing, because I really appreciate, like I said before, that they captured the video game action into this. Is there a moment that you liked or stood out?
My favorite character really didn't get to shine as much in the fight with him and Jin.
Right.
First of all, like their characters are like a bit of rivalry. They're supposed to be really close to like higher level of fighting techniques, and he just got smoked. So I was like, that makes no sense. That's me. That favoritism for my character.
You're being a little biased. Yeah,
I'm a little bit biased. Leroy got a better chance than he did.
Right.
Fight wise,
man.
Yeah. I mean, fight wise, the ogre fight was the best fight.
Which one? With the mother or with him?
Jin.
Okay.
The fight between him and Leroy wasn't bad. Neither. I kind of like that fight too. It was interesting.
It was short though.
It was short. Like, well, they took him out at the knee, but it was short. But the technique, Leroy's technique was nice. I would have liked to see more of that kind of movement and style in the fighting of the actual tournament.
Okay.
And matter of fact, your girl, for the most part,
June, or the other one. Okay.
For the most part, it was just taking hits.
The way she took out Nina, I liked. She jumped on the shoulders and then just freaking slammed the crap out of the face. Bang! I was like, oh. And Nina just drops. And I mean, the way that also King took her out, I mean, it was unfair though, the weight size difference. And I was like, geez, I mean, that's how the games are, but still, it's like, ouch.
I mean, in the game, you fight a raptor and a panda, and they're like, this is a fair fight.
Right. For me, the favorite moment was, I would say, overall, the first episode. There's a lot of great moments. I did like seeing, or the flashbacks of mother and son training together. I loved how they show with the fight with June and the ogre. It showed you what this series is going to be about. It gave us a great inclination of how they're taking this series. Granted, the story may be good or bad, but the action is like, we're going to get it right here. We're not going to make these characters do something they've never done before in the video games. We're going to stay true to that, especially with the sparks, and the sound effects was like the games too. So all that was in the series, and for me, that first episode and specifically that fight of Mother and Monster really set the tone for me.
Yeah, they gave him the mark. 36 chamber kung fu training sequence with the sandbags and hit the post.
Yeah, Well, that was with his grandfather.
Yeah.
Because you can have the montage and the training montages, and we've seen them all over many platforms. But to set the tone, to show the audience what to expect, to grab the audience or turn off the audience, that's what's important a lot of times. Just like Invincible, where the end credit scene or epilogue scene of episode 1, if that didn't happen, you could have lost a lot of viewers.
Sure.
But since it happened, it showed the viewers a different take on the superhero genre and different direction of what's expected. I agree with you, like some things, like some historic knowledge of the characters or background what the characters lacked.
Mm-hmm.
It was just a snitch here and there. Maybe more will be explained or shared in season 2. I'm sorry. Did you also mention a weak spot?
Oh
or
no,
moment
that was my biggest weak spot story.
in the sense of your favorite character not knowing like his story or whatever,
Well,
or
like I
sharing his
just use
story?
that for example, but there was a lot of things that they did similarly with other characters. Yeah, I get it that they were focusing on the Mishima aspect, but even at that, it felt a lot of gap. And if you want to focus on the family thing, cool, focus on the family thing. Ogre doesn't have to be on season 1 if you're not going to bring like if you're going to get
Hmm.
season 2, like
Hmm.
eat that into season 2.
You know what? It could have been cool if they directed each episode on one character only.
And then tie it all
How about
together and
tie it all in at the end at the episode 10
because they kind of did
or
that with
6?
the
I think.
intro, like where like what's behind your eyes in the shadow or something like that, and like
Yeah, but
and they could have focused on each individual character or background. Kind of that would have made sense. And you know what?
yeah,
Even if they give like, because I want to say, and guys, if you're listening to this, and you want to correct me. I feel like the whole backstory between why Hitachi is a dick and does everything he does has to do with his first love, his wife, the mother of Kazuya, and
hmm
what happened with her, and him realizing that the devil gene was passed on to his son, and also because of his grandfather. If they just did like a little bit of that going in, just to give a little bit more feeling to Hitachi's character, so you give it like, oh, he's a dick, but he's a dick for a reason, and then you're like, I can relate to him a little bit more. I can like grasp that. Other than I don't get why he does what he does, because honestly, you
right.
still don't get what he does. Like you don't understand why Ogre was released, why he has such a hard on against the Devil Gene,
Hmm.
why it's like everything needs to be like I need to be the strongest, we need to have the strongest. But this guy's clearly the strongest. I'm going to shoot him with a bullet.
I was like, it's like you think that bullet will stop this?
Exactly. He's like I
I
saved
was
the
like,
world
okay.
with my Desert Eagle.
And he just shot him in the chest. He didn't.
It was one
It's supposed
shot.
to be like I thought it was 2, but
Mm.
still, it's like 1 to the head, 2 to the body, or 2 to the head, 1
I
to
mean,
the body, something like that.
I mean that's
Like
just like
to make sure
yeah.
they're done. I mean, like when he's talking and Jin is moving his hands, like no one sees that. No one sees his hand moving. Like
Which is a
they're not
lot of
paying
things.
attention. Overall, again, this is worth the watch, in my opinion, especially if you're a fan of the fighting aspect. Again, if you don't care about the story, then cool. But if you're a true fan of Tekken and how your favorite character moves, or the characters move in general, you're going to appreciate this show. Now, the story does have some problems. Let's be real on that. I've seen a whole lot worse. What about you? You feel the same, or?
I'm actually going to have to disagree this time. If they come up with a season 2, I might re-go through it and then revise my overall opinion.
Okay,
Kind of like how
so
we did with He-Man in the
all right,
Masters
but
Universe.
let's bring back an oldie but goodie in the sense of reviews. I think it's worth the watch. Do you think it's worth a watch in the sense of one and done? Do you
Yeah.
think you need to see it again? Fair enough. I would probably most likely see this again because of the action. The only animation, there's a lot of animations that do fighting justice, but the closest in the sense of martial arts is the OVA of Street Fighter, the motion picture, way back in the day. The fighting, the technique behind the movement was almost better than the fight. Well, it was actually better than the video game fighting, but they made it more realistic, where the video game was a little more fantasy,
They kind of did, yeah.
Like the one I'm talking about, like they gave
Yeah, you're talking about
Bison,
Street Fighter 2, the animated movie.
right, where like the Japanese version called Bison Vega,
Yeah.
and the English version called them Bison. But that one I like. Like Dal Sim is in it. I mean, all the main characters. They're more like cameos in that story.
They were cameos with a purpose. Because like
Right.
they even had DJ. DJ was in there. No one has a purpose for DJ, but they gave him a purpose. And he's like, he was there for intel, and they're like, "What up, man?" And I'm like, "Cool." They had the thing. Fun fact: I didn't realize it until like a year ago. Street Fighter animated movie was actually made as a promotion to Street Fighter the live action film. It's in the credits. It's at the end of the credits. It says like, "Watch the Street Fighter live action film." I had no idea.
The one with Van Damme?
Yes, they made they made the animated movie to promote and get ready for the live action with Van Damme.
I don't know that. Wow.
And I was like,
but how? I mean, the thing is, like, the animation takes so long to make and compared to a movie, especially a movie like that where
it's legit in the credits, man.
I don't doubt it. They probably did it. It's like, well, listen, we're doing a live action one. Let's see if we can tie it in. Probably. I don't know the story behind that. But,
the story was better, too.
Oh, yeah. That story was better. I mean, yet the main, I know we're going off a tangent now. Let's think of another one. But that one, the animation one, the focus was Ryu. They call it Ryu, but that's the English version. But it's Ryu, Ken, Guile,
and Chun-Li.
And Chun-Li is like an operative.
Yes, she's working for Interpol. Guile is just like special forces that has like history with Bison. Ken Masters, just a rich dude who likes to fight and happens to be best friends with Ryu. And Ryu was like the original target of M. Bison because he beat Sagat. He's like, "You got my attention."
And Ryu is just trying to better himself.
Yeah.
He's like the Miyamoto Musashi, where just trying to find the best fighter to better himself, to find his true self.
Yeah.
Through fighting. So it's pretty deep, but it's a classic. For those who have not seen it, if you want to see a good Street Fighter movie with great martial arts, is that. Because, I mean, one of the best scenes that come out of my memory right now is Chun-Li versus Vega.
Oh, it's an iconic scene. It's a fantastic scene. And that was another thing about that movie. They had a killer soundtrack. They had like Korn, KMFDM.
Yes, for the American market, yes.
For the American market. But like it worked. Like that fight scene, you had KMFDM it like come up it's like KMFDMF or something like that, come up on the background as she's fighting Vega, and you're like, you feel that intensity. And they're like really going at it. It was a brutal scene.
Oh, she was getting torn up.
But she got hers. She got Vega good.
Oh yeah. It says my face.
Yes.
All right. I think that's enough on that because we can definitely.
That's a whole different review.
Yes. All right, guys. That is our series review of Tekken Bloodline. I know I said Bloodlines earlier, but it's Bloodline. Until next time, will be the next time. I am Angel.
Adan.
Love you, bro.
Love you too.